This is wrestling's greatest moments.
Hey now, wrestling fans, it's time for another episode of Wrestling's Greatest Moments. Conventional wisdom has it that the American Wrestling Association was on life support once Hulk Hogan left the promotion in 1983, but as we're about to see, the AWA still had plenty of life in it, even as late as 1986. Sit back as Wrestling's Greatest Moments looks at WrestleRock 86, an all-star show that, while successful, is best remembered for the awful rap song created to promote it. Before we get started though, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. The AWA in 1986. Once upon a time, Verne Gagne's American Wrestling Association was a prestigious promotion that attracted some of the world's greatest talents and was a successful alternative to the National Wrestling Alliance and the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, later the World Wrestling Federation. However, the emergence of Vince McMahon Jr. as the WWF's new owner marked a seismic shift in the wrestling landscape. McMahon's aggressive talent acquisition strategy, including raiding other promotions and running shows in competitors' markets, was a game changer. This approach, though seen as taboo at the time, was not entirely new, as promotions like Georgia Championship Wrestling had already experimented with it. In his first memoir, Controversy Creates Cash, Eric Bischoff, who worked in the AWA in marketing and as an announcer, reflects on the traditional operation of promotions at the time. When Verne Gagne was in his heyday in the 60s and 70s, there was an unwritten code that regional promoters stayed out of each other's territories. Nobody tried to steal anybody's wrestlers, and that kind of stuff. The AWA was not immune to McMahon's talent raids, and Gagne saw many of his top talents, including Hulk Hogan, David Schultz, Jesse Ventura, manager Bobby the Brain Heenan, and announcer Mean Gene Okerlund depart from the WWF. This exodus had a profound impact on the AWA, leaving a void that was not easily filled, while Gagne was at fault for some of his talent jumping ship. A subject too detailed to go into in this video. He wasn't about to throw in the towel. Instead, he brought in new talent, including the Road Warriors and the Fabulous Freebirds, two of the hottest acts in professional wrestling. In addition, Gagne made a deal with ESPN to get AWA programming on the blossoming sports network. Beginning in September 1985, this was a boon for the promotion because it gave it national cable access. Much as the WWF aired on the USA Network and Jim Crockett Promotions aired on Ted Turner's Superstation TBS. Gagne also joined other promoters in producing shows under the Pro Wrestling USA banner, which included some star-studded affairs meant to cut into the WWF's business. The idea was to give McMahon a taste of his own medicine by booking shows in his traditional markets. The shows were a mixed success, but they demonstrated that promotions weren't going to lay down for the WWF juggernaut. In 1986, Verne Gagne decided to run a major show in the AWA's Minneapolis stomping grounds. At the time, it was the most ambitious wrestling show in the United States in terms of the number of matches. Unlike the WWF's earlier 1986 show, WrestleMania 2, this would take place at 1, rather than 3, venues. A cavalcade of stars. WrestleRock was a huge show featuring talent from around the world, including the second version of Tiger Mask and All Japan Pro Wrestling icon Giant Baba. It also followed wrestling's adage of having something for everyone. The show featured a 10-women battle royal, a tag team match featuring Little Persons, Little T, and Cowboy Lang versus Lord Littlebrook and Little Tokyo, a boxing match, and several title matches. The show also featured 3 steel cage matches. In all, WrestleRock featured 16 matches. Most matches went 10 minutes or longer, giving wrestlers time to work extended matches, unlike the WWF's much shorter length matches. WrestleRock was held at Minneapolis, Minnesota's Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, the home of the NFL's Minnesota Vikings and Major League Baseball's Minnesota Twins. Around 23,000 fans showed up for the event, and while the show ran for some time, the crowd seemed excited for much of the event. Here are some of the best matches from the show. Be sure to check the end of our video for a list of every match, including winners. There were several standout tag team matches, including Buddy Rose and Doug Summers versus the Midnight Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. This was a hint of things to come, as both teams' feud over the AWA World Tag Team Championship was a highlight of the AWA's final years. Two popular 80s teams clashed as the U.S. Express, Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham, battled the Fabulous Ones, Steve Keirn and Stan Lane. AWA World Tag Team Champions Scott Hall and Curt Hennig's grudge match against the Long Riders, Bill and Scott Irwin, is a reminder of just how many good tag teams there were during the 1980s, in addition to the many great ones. Not to be outdone, WrestleRock also featured a steel cage match between the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, and the team of Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin. Several singles matches on the card are also worth watching, including a wild brawl between AWA America's Champion Sergeant Slaughter and Kamala, an exciting match between Rick Martel and Harley Race, and a title match between AWA World Champion Stan Hansen and Nick Bockwinkel. WrestleRock can be found on Peacock, and if you're a fan of 80s wrestling, it's definitely worth checking out. Not every match is a must-see, but with 16 matches on the card, that's pretty much to be expected. The Rock and Wrestling Connection. Vince McMahon's smash success with the Rock and Wrestling Connection led to other promotions trying to pair popular music acts with pro wrestling. Jim Crockett Promotions would also do this by adding country music concerts to several of its Great American Bash events in 1986, and Vern Gagne looked to do the same with WrestleRock. While Gagne has been rightfully criticized for pushing older wrestlers as if they were still in their prime, Gagne wasn't as out of touch as fans might think. According to historian Tim Hornbaker, Gagne rented the humongous Metrodome Stadium and tried to land Minneapolis native Prince to perform during the show. But Prince was filming under the cherry moon in France, so Gagne went with country singer Waylon Jennings, which seemed to contradict the WrestleRock theme. Larry Zbyszko would comment on Vern Gagne's quest for a hot music act in his memoir, Adventures in Larryland, arguing that historically most fans didn't want to stick around for a musical performance after watching hours of wrestling. As for who Gagne wanted to bring in, Zbyszko noted, Vern had trouble with some rock and roll band and wound up with Waylon Jennings. That's Vern. While Waylon wasn't the best choice, nothing could compare to the musical misadventure known as the WrestleRock Rumble. The WrestleRock Rumble. Although the WrestleRock show had some outstanding matches, it's long been overshadowed by the astonishingly awful WrestleRock Rumble, a song created to promote it. The song, and that's being charitable, is often described as a ripoff of 1985 Super Bowl Shuffle, which was charmingly cheesy enough to sell 500,000 copies and even earn a Grammy nomination for the best R&B performance by a duo or group. By comparison, the WrestleRock Rumble made PN News and Men on a Mission sound like Ice-T and the Sugar Hill Gang by comparison. Not until 1999's Heroes of Wrestling would so many wrestlers gather in one place and produce so much garbage. As bad as the song is, fans can take delight of the utter awfulness of the music video produced to support the song. Whether they watch interviewer Ken Resnick spitting game or Vern Gagne giving rapping Ronnie Reagan a run for his money, the video reminds them of how out of touch the mainstream was at the time with hip-hop music. The beginning of the end? WrestleRock was a quality show, but was it successful? Tim Hornbaker notes in The Death of the Territories that an estimated 22,000 spectators were on hand, and the gate was a little over $250,000, enough for the AWA to break even. All told though, WrestleRock was something of a fizzle according to Minneapolis City Business. A few months later, Gagne told that paper, Waylon wasn't right for our crowd. Only about 2,000 stayed around for his show, and I think I made a mistake in not having lower prices at the Metrodome for the kids. Gagne had shown that an all-star show could draw a crowd, but what good was it if he couldn't make a profit? The AWA continued plugging away until 1990 when it shut down and filed for bankruptcy in 1991. While it's no consolation, Vern Gagne isn't the only promoter who went belly up against the WWF Colossus. Do you remember WrestleRock 86? Did you watch it? Or even attend it? Share your thoughts in the comment section and let us know if there's any videos you'd like Wrestling's Greatest Moments to cover. In the meantime, subscribe to our channel, follow us on X and Instagram, and spread the good news about Wrestling's Greatest Moments, the channel that celebrates the squared circle.